Kraang Khe, the masked village. It was once a dot on the map, nestled deep within the emerald embrace of a Southeast Asian jungle. Then it simply vanished. No trace, no whisper, no memory on any map you'd find. It was as if the jungle had swallowed it whole, keeping its secrets locked tight. But the village remained, hidden from prying eyes, veiled in a silence broken only by the rustle of leaves and the cries of exotic birds. The villagers knew why their home was hidden. They knew the legend of the masks, ancient, powerful, and utterly chilling. The masks were kept hidden, locked away in the deepest, darkest corners of their homes. They were a reminder of a past they desperately wished to forget, a past that haunted their present. The villagers lived in fear of the unknown, fear of the shadows that stretched long and eerie with the setting sun. Most of all, they feared the night the stranger came. It began on a night choked by a thick fog. An unnatural silence had settled over Kraang Khe. The air was thick with anticipation, heavy with a dread the villagers couldn't name. Then he emerged from the swirling mist like a phantom, tall and gaunt. His features were obscured by the low-hanging fog and the deepening shadows. He stood beneath the ancient banyan tree at the edge of the village, its gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The banyan tree was the village's heart, its silent guardian. Or so they thought. The stranger's arrival was a violation, an ill omen. The villagers watched him from their windows, their hearts pounding like drums in their chests. A shiver ran down 12-year-old Elias's spine. He had never seen anyone like him. Who was this stranger, and what did his presence mean for their hidden village? Elias was a curious boy, always poking his nose where it didn't belong. The attic, shrouded in dust and silence, was a place his grandmother had warned him never to enter. But the stranger's arrival filled him with an unsettling curiosity, a need to understand. One hot afternoon, while his grandmother was busy in the fields, Elias crept into the attic. The air was thick with the smell of decay, and the silence was broken only by the skittering of rats. A single ray of sunlight pierced through a crack in the roof, illuminating a wooden chest tucked away in a corner. Elias's breath caught in his throat. He knew instinctively that this chest held answers. Inside, nestled amongst yellowed cloth and moth-eaten garments, lay a mask. Not just any mask. This one was different. It was carved from dark wood, its features twisted into a grotesque snarl. That night the wind howled like a banshee. The banyan tree swayed violently, its branches scraping against the walls of the huts like clawing hands. Elias woke with a start. Something was different. The air was alive, buzzing with an unseen energy. And then he heard them, whispers, soft and insidious, weaving their way through the village. The whispers spoke of shadows and fear, of a forgotten past and a looming threat. They slithered under doors, seeped in through cracks in the walls, worming their way into the minds of the villagers. Fear, raw and primal, gripped Kraang Khe. The villagers huddled in their homes, their faces pale, their eyes wide with terror. "The masks," they whispered. "The masks are the cause." The whispers wouldn't cease. They spoke of a name, the Shaman of Shadows. He was a powerful sorcerer, they said, who had once ruled Kraang Khe. He possessed dark magic, fueled by fear and despair, and the masks were his creation, each one imbued with a piece of his malevolent spirit. The shaman had craved immortality, sought to bind himself to the village through his masks, but his magic had gone awry, twisting his spirit, turning him into something monstrous. The villagers, fearing his wrath, had risen up against him, sealing him within the heart of the village, the ancient well. The whispers grew louder, their message more urgent. "The shaman is restless," they hissed. "He seeks to break free, to unleash his darkness upon the world. And the stranger," they shrieked, "he is the key." The old well, long sealed and shrouded in superstition, lay at the edge of the village, just beyond the banyan tree. It was a place of dread, a constant reminder of the shaman's dark legacy. After the Night of Whispers, the villagers avoided it even more, but not Elias. Drawn by an unseen force, compelled by a curiosity that bordered on madness, he found himself standing at the edge of the well. The air around it was stagnant, heavy with a palpable sense of evil. Peering into its depths, he saw nothing but inky blackness, but he could feel it, a presence cold and malevolent watching him from the darkness. Elias's blood ran cold. The whispers had been right. Something was down there, something evil, and it was tied to the mask he had found, the stranger, and the fate of Kraang Khe. Driven by fear and a strange sense of responsibility, Elias ran back to the village. He had to warn everyone, tell them what he had felt at the well. But as he entered the village square, he froze. The villagers were gathered around the banyan tree, their faces twisted in fear and awe. The stranger stood before them, his face finally illuminated by the flickering light of torches, and he was holding the mask, Elias's mask. The stranger turned, and as if sensing Elias's presence, he looked directly at him. His eyes, once empty sockets in the mask, now glowed with a malevolent light. The mask had chosen its bearer. The Shaman of Shadows was back. Panic surged through the village. People screamed and scattered, desperate to escape the looming darkness. But Elias stood his ground. He knew deep down that he couldn't run. He had to face the evil that he had unwittingly unleashed. The villagers, in their fear, had forgotten the past. They had chosen to hide from it, to pretend it never happened. But Elias, armed with the knowledge of his ancestors and a courage born of desperation, knew what he had to do. He had to help them remember. He had to help them fight. Elias raised his voice, his words cutting through the chaos. He told them the stories his grandmother had whispered, tales of bravery and sacrifice. He reminded them of the strength that lay dormant within them, the strength of their ancestors who had once fought the shaman's darkness. And slowly, something began to shift. The fear in the villagers' eyes gave way to a flicker of hope. They remembered their past, their legacy. They remembered who they were, and with a surge of defiance they turned to face the stranger, their voices rising in unison, their spirits ignited. The village of Kraang Khe had awakened. Elias always felt drawn to the well. It lay nestled deep within the woods, shrouded in mist and shadow, emanating an unsettling silence. The villagers warned him away, their faces etched with fear. They spoke of curses and whispered tales of vanished souls. But Elias couldn't resist its pull. In his dreams, the well called to him. He saw masked figures dancing under a blood-red moon. Their movements were jerky, unnatural, their limbs contorting at impossible angles. A song, mournful and chilling, echoed through his dreams, weaving its way into his waking thoughts. It spoke of ancient pacts and sacrifices made under a watchful, hungry moon. The well, he realized, was not a source of water, but a conduit. Drawn by an invisible force, Elias found himself standing at the edge of the well. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and decay. He saw it then, half buried in the mud, a wooden mask, its features frozen in a silent scream. As his fingers brushed against its rough surface, the whispers in his dreams intensified, transforming into guttural voices. The well water rippled, not from a falling stone, but from something rising within its depths. The song from his dreams swelled, vibrating through the air, through his bones, resonating deep within his soul. His blood ran cold. The mask, he understood, was a key, and he had just unlocked something ancient and evil. The villagers knew the well's dark history. They spoke of a time when the forest throbbed with unseen power, a time when masked figures danced under the blood moon, offering sacrifices to appease an entity that dwelled below. The well, they said, was a gateway, a mouth forever hungry. Their ancestors, desperate to protect future generations, crafted the masks, each one a vessel, a prison for the entity's minions. The song, they whispered, was not a song of worship but of binding, of trapping the creatures within the well's depths. But time had weakened the barriers, and the entity, sensing its opportunity, was stirring once more. The line between worlds blurred. The air crackled with unseen energy, and shadows danced with a life of their own. The villagers, their faces drawn and pale, spoke of nightmares bleeding into their waking hours. They felt it too, the suffocating dread, the oppressive weight of unseen eyes watching their every move. Elias, forever bound to the well by his touch, felt a growing connection to the souls trapped within. Their fear, their anger, their sorrow, it all flowed through him, a torrent of raw emotion. And the song continued, a relentless, haunting melody, a promise whispered on the wind. It wouldn't be long now. The veil would shatter and the ancient evil would be unleashed.